Hi class, here's a video to help you use StatCrunch to speed along some of your calculations when you're working in chapter 3. So for example, I brought up a problem from the homework, section 3.3, and I brought this problem up because one, it has a couple of rows of data, and I want to show you how to bring that into StatCrunch to get your calculations really quickly. So when you open up a problem, many questions will show this little, questions have data, will show these two little gray and blue boxes. And when you hover over them, it says click to copy table. And this is how you're going to easily get your data into StatCrunch or Excel or just copy the data. So I've just hovered over it right now. And if you click on it, I'm going to choose Open in StatCrunch. And StatCrunch is going to automatically open for me. So here I have a StatCrunch window, and you can see both of my columns of data, just like I had two rows of data. I had security service and then other, and you can see along the top here, security and other. To expand that, if I just hover over this vertical line separating the two columns, I can drag the title over and then I can see the full title. And just do a quick double check, 1.5, 1.8, go through your data and just make sure it really is what was typed in on those rows. So that will save you some heartache if for some weird reason data gets transferred wrong. Okay, so back to this. I have the data right here in StatCrunch. To get my summary statistics, my mean, my standard deviation, coefficient of variation, all this good stuff from chapter 3, we're going to click on Stat and then Summary Stats and then the columns because our data are in the columns. Click on Columns and we get another window that shows up. So this is the window where we're going to select what we want on what data. So the first box here, Select Columns. On the left side, in general, here in this window, are all the options, and then on the right side are what we've chosen. So if I want statistics only on the security company, I can just click on Security Service, and it slides it over to the right side. If I clicked again on other companies get slid over to the right side. And notice how the other security service disappeared. If I want statistics on both of those companies, see how there's this yellow select more than one with shift click or command click. If I push command or control if you're on a PC or shift, you can click on both at the same time and then they both slide over there. To get rid of them, just click and it toggles back and forth. Okay, so command, click, gets both of them. All right, so going down to the options, you can ignore where and group by statistics. This is the good stuff. So just take a look at this with me. There is dark gray, and if I use the little scroll bar and go down, there's this lighter gray, and notice that those also turned blue. That's because the options in blue are what are selected over here to be computed. So on the left, everything possible. On the right, everything that you want computed. Right now, it's just the n, the sample size, the mean, the variance, standard deviation, standard error, median, range, min, max, Q1 and Q3. Well, let's say that I want something else in that list. I want to compute, in addition to all that extra stuff, I want to get the IQR. So you can see again that your little yellow hover that says select more than one with shift click or command click. If I push shift and then click on IQR, I now have some more statistics. I have sum and IQR selected. Let's say I want the coefficient of variation also added to that list. Now I'm going to push command because command lets you select individual items. Shift selects a range of items. All right, so coefficient of variation is blue, IQR sum all the way back up to n, all that is blue. So when I look over here on the right side, I see n, mean, variance, standard deviation, all the same stuff, plus some IQR coefficient of variation. You can also ignore all of that. So, and by ignore all that, I mean, let's say we start over. You accidentally, oops, I clicked on mean. This happens. It will happen a lot. you, Everything that you just clicked over there disappeared. That's okay. You just go back over to statistics, click on everything you want while holding down the command or the control button. So I clicked on N, mean, variance, standard deviation, and those are sample variance and standard deviation, by the way. And then I move down with a little scroll bar. I'm going to keep pushing command and click on median, range, min, back to pushing command, max, Q1, Q3, IQR, keep going, coefficient of variation, and oh, hey, there's mode. Let's select on that one as well because that's useful. And everything that is highlighted in blue is now slid over here on this right side, and that's going to be computed. You don't have to go in that order too. You can type in any order and then it will put it in that exact order on the right side. So if you don't want N first, you want mean first, click mean first, then N. All right, after all of that, let's just push compute and we're going to get our results. So here's our box showing us what has been selected. There's a slider along the bottom because we had so many statistics. And you can extend these windows a little bit. Here's our two columns, the two different companies. And then we have all of our statistics along here. The sample size for each group, the mean for each group, the sample variance, the sample standard deviation, the medians, the range, and everything all the way down to our coefficient of variation and our mode. So this is basically everything that you need for Chapter 3 aside from your box plots. And while I'm here, let's just make a box plot as well. So we're going to go up to graph because we want to make a box plot, and this is a graph. Select box plot, and then let's select the two companies. So I'm going to push command or control, and on the two companies, slide them over there to the right side. In this window, there's a couple more options that we want. I want to use fences to find those outliers. So this is the 1.5 IQR rule that you can use to see if any numbers are extreme or not. If you want the boxes to go horizontally, check that box. Otherwise, they show up vertically. And then everything else, totally optional. X-axis, Y-axis, you can fix this at the end as well. Title, we can adjust that later on, but just to get a real fast graph made, push compute. And here we go. So our box plots shows up here. Box plot for the security service company, and then the other company, outliers have been identified with the 1.5 IQR rule. And then knowing how to read a box plot, we know that the center line is our median. Ooh, and it looks like something interesting is happening over here with this other company. I think the median is the same as one of your other variables. So just hovering over these edges, look how this yellow box pops up. It tells us how many values, how many outliers. It tells us the 5-number summary as well as the IQR. So you don't have to guess that, by sliding over to the side and making an estimate. By hovering on an edge here, it'll tell you those specific numbers, just like our summary statistics did in that previous window. So one last thing, you can see in both of these windows there's options. If you go back and you want to change something, this is the way to do it. Click on Options, Edit, and it gets you back to that window where you were choosing all those options. Let's say you wanted to draw the boxes horizontally. I want to do that now. So check that box, push compute, and now the boxes go the other direction. Maybe that's easier to read and that's why you'd want to do that. Same idea, you get the outliers identified. You can click on the box, hover over the box, and then you get all these statistics. So no guesstimating there. All right, hope that helps.